Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's AEW Dynamite review. I am Angela of Hobby Nights, and I am joined today by the Chaos Cultist. Chaos Cultist, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well. It's been a very busy day.
Oh my gosh, we have had an insanely busy day, and then we are ending it with a I would say, pretty decent Dynamite, actually. A lot better than I actually anticipated it being, because
Well, we sort of went in with no expectations because after double of nothing, double or nothing, we sort of felt like okay, we now have to build towards Wembley. We have to build towards Collision. So this felt like it had to be sort of a reset night, and I think it delivered on that.
I absolutely think it delivered on that as well. And honestly, I think I'm very happy with how they have reset some things. And we'll definitely get into that as
And we also got the surprise non-announcement of the year.
Yes, we did. Do you want to start with the announcement, since it is probably like the biggest news that everybody will be talking about when it comes to this episode of Dynamite?
That's true. That's true. After this is over, I need to go change the thumbnail and the title.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So Tony Khan announced what we all knew after the location announcement for the opening show of Collision, and that is that Collision will be featuring CM Punk. Mic drop. He will be taking no other questions at this time. The crowd's reaction to this was very similar to my own.
Yeah, it was actually kind of mixed, I would say, in the crowd. There was a lot of people definitely cheering, very happy to see
I would
CM
say
Punk back.
more cheers than boos, or it might just be that
Yes.
cheers are louder than boos.
That's true. That's true. But I definitely saw some people like they zoomed in on some like people like giving thumbs downs and like being angry about it
If
as
you
well.
care, then that's what matters.
It really is. That is the biggest thing, and it was interesting to see that reaction.
Yeah, I saw reports from people at the venue too that it was like a loud mixed reaction of people who were very hyped for it and then people who were not. Once again, after they announced that the first show was going to be in Chicago, we all knew this already, so I actually think it's a smart move by management to just make it official, and that way, like, the real news will actually cover it.
Yes.
Because, if it was just left the way it was the first time, it ends up being mostly just wrestle talk, the dirt sheets, and whatnot.
Right. It's all a lot of more speculative news as well as and less so the like hard here is the news.
Or even just the more mainstream things like,
Yeah.
entertainment news, things like
That's what
that.
I meant, is like the
Yeah.
like broader news sources covering wrestling because X thing happened. Like you really need that. Now that they've confirmed it, they can go officially, hey, this really big named star who has a lot of stuff going on with him in his career as a pro wrestler is back in pro wrestling again. We can talk about it, and it's official. They've actually said it.
I look forward to Sullivan's and report on it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, so do I. I cannot wait for whatever skit reaction that they have probably been planning forever, because you know that Ollie's been like meticulously waiting for this to occur. I
Mhm.
cannot wait to hear his like squeal of excitement as like his favorite
I
wrestler
mean,
is
he
back.
knew it was coming. If nothing else, though, I think his squeal of excitement is his favorite clickbait is back, and
I
that
mean,
will.
that's true.
Yes.
That is
Um,
very, very true.
I haven't looked at YouTube yet, but I can promise you, wrestling YouTube is just gonna be
CM
like,
Punk's face everywhere. Oh
it
my
will
gosh,
be.
it really will be. And it
But
probably will be
that's
for like the next couple of days too, as like more and more. Cause like, isn't he already tweeting and stuff? Like, I think you were looking during the show
yeah,
and he's
he's
already.
teasing. He's teasing his run with FTR.
I'm sure that will be fun.
Yes.
I am personally, when it comes to CM Punk, I am curious to see where this ends up going. I am taking bets on how soon we think he will get injured. Because I feel like every
Oh,
time he comes back, and he always does, and I'm just worried about the man. He needs to like chill out. Please do not start immediately crowd surfing again. Like, don't be dumb and like jump onto people you shouldn't be jumping onto and accidentally breaking your foot again or whatever. Like, he did that so much in his last run in AEW. I'm just waiting for it. And then, like, or my other bet is how soon will he be in a real conflict with somebody else on the roster? Because that also seems to happen to him a lot. Because wherever he goes, controversy follows.
So we opened this. No, CM Punk will. We have to wait and see. I don't have a whole lot more to add to it. So
I am mostly jesting, but like it is one of those things that I am curious because like I am not the biggest CM Punk fan, so I'm just looking at this going like I want to see what you're gonna do. Like finally prove me wrong because I haven't been super impressed. I also didn't follow you back when you were like the hot thing in WWE, so I don't have that context. I don't have that sentimental value or anything like that. I just have what I've seen.
Yeah, for context, you got into wrestling like
after
the 6 month. Well, not actually. You came in like 6 months after he left WWE.
Oh, really? I didn't actually realize that he had been with them still that close to when I started.
Yeah, he left in like 2013, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I just had no context of any of his stuff. I'd never seen any of it. I just had the like.
Well, that's what happened is because you came in and WWE was completely whitewashing all their records of him at that point.
So they just completely expunged him, and so I never saw anything. That makes sense. And then I never was watching like Ring of Honor or any of that when he was in there either.
Correct.
So basically my point is the only thing I've ever seen of CM Punk has been his AEW run. And I don't know, I felt like that was not
underwhelming.
Yeah, it was underwhelming. Like for all of the hype that was built up around this man, it was incredibly underwhelming.
You know, we discussed not just complaining on this podcast.
I'm sorry.
All right.
All right. Also, I just want to shout out to say hello to John and Sheldon and Roger and Nathan all in chat saying hello to everybody. Yeah, Wrestle Talk tomorrow is going to be good for sure. Absolutely.
But tonight's show, very honestly, one of the better ones in the last month or so. Because I felt like leading into Double or Nothing, like there were flashes of pretty good stuff, but this felt like the most consistent in recent weeks.
Yeah, so I actually really liked this show.
Mm-hmm. So we started off with the Lucha Bros and Bandito versus Black Bull Combat Club in just a let's have some tough bastards hit each other.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun match. I mean, you would expect it with it being the BCC and then a bunch of luchadors. There was flying around. There was people being thrown around. There's a lot of that actually this episode, and I enjoyed all of it.
But the story of this episode was actually happening heavily on commentary because we ended up having Brian on commentary with Excalibur and Taz. And what he was really putting over in this match was Yuta.
Yes.
The fact that Yuta, pinned Kenny Omega on Sunday. He's the one that won that match. He ended up being the one that won the match tonight.
Yes.
It definitely feels like, okay, and we're going to continue this theme through like 4 or 5 segments tonight, where, we are... a lot
of static sounding from you, seemingly. Let me see if...
From me?
Yes, it says they're saying it's from you. I am going to lower the desktop or you're the application audio capture, right?
Yes, I am.
I'm gonna lower that a little bit. They're saying it sounds echoey. I don't know if maybe I'm...
Let me come take a look at the settings.
All right, cool. One moment, folks. We will check on that. Sorry about the static.
I see why. You were not supposed to unmute that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to unmute that. I don't know what I did. I think I misread that and thought it said Discord. Apologies, everybody. That was my mistake. Hopefully, it'll now be fine. I think you were...
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. That should be better now, folks.
I am so sorry. I think you were hearing double of him because of me. All right, cool. We're getting thumbs up now of things seem to be fine. We'll wait for a few moments just to get a confirmation of that.
Unfortunately, I had the voice of God treatment. I could have used that.
You could have. You absolutely could have used it. You were the the voice of God. My goodness.
All right. I suspect, considering it was what I thought it was, and I immediately clicked it off.
Okay, cool. Everybody says, yeah, we're getting confirmation that it's an easy fix and everything's fine now. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. So so the story here was they're pushing Yuta, and the theme for tonight is new chapters for a lot of the wrestlers.
Yes. Yes, they are totally pushing just the new moving a lot of their younger wrestlers forward, and they really were focusing on Yuta in this match. He, like you said, got the win. He had a lot of great sequences and everything, and I love that they are focusing on him so incredibly much when it comes to honestly just trying to push him, which is great.
Okay, people are still saying we're having audio issues. So
still crackling, but much better.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, do me a favor. Mute the application-based one and unmute desktop.
Okay. How is this?
All right, folks, tell me if that's a little better now. Apologies for that. If not, I will retry connecting the call.
All right, cool. We just got just to talk about this a little bit while we confirm and we wait for you guys to let us know if we're still getting static or not. I got a brand new computer setup, and so this is our first stream with a new setup. So there may be better. It's good. It's better now. Are we so much better now? Okay. Chaos Cultist, could you just talk a little bit more about the pro wrestling? And I want to just have people confirm that a few more times with some thumbs up in chat, please.
I'm literally just going to read the text in front of me from BleacherReport.com. Following a victory over the Elite Sunday night in Las Vegas, the Blackpool Combat Club continued their winning ways to kick off Wednesday's show as Wheeler Yuta, Jon Moxley, and Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli defeated Ring of Honor World Tag Champs Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fenix, and Bandito.
Okay, we're getting a lot of thumbs up in chat.
All right.
So I think we are better now. I don't know.
Yeah, literally, I set that computer up and set up OBS 30 minutes before this stream. So I'm gonna have to look into it.
Crystal clear now. Cool.
All right. I will figure it out later.
Okay, excellent. Thank you guys so much for confirming that. Sorry about the slight audio issues there, but yes, this was great match. They were totally focusing on Yuta, and I loved everything about it. I hope they continue to. Oh, I want to talk about something really quick about this, actually, because you and I were discussing it slightly while we were watching this. It occurs to me one of the other reasons I think they're really focusing on Yuta right now, and I think it's exceptional that they're doing this, because Yuta, if I remember correctly, actually has history with Maxwell. And it would be really cool now that the stuff with the pillars seems to be wrapped up, because we will talk some more about that. Of a couple people are moving on to other things. I really would love to see Yuta now challenge Max, maybe going onto some pay-per-view. I don't know which one, but a pay-per-view, and have it culminate there, but he be Max's next challenge, because I think that could be honestly pretty brutal, because I think Yuta would be just, I don't know. I feel like that could be a really good combo. I feel like I would love to watch them work together.
Yeah, because they have worked together in Beyond Wrestling, and
Yes.
I think I don't know if Yuta was ever in Create Pro.
I don't know if he was either. I just know that they have history together.
Yeah, they have an indie history, so
Yes.
I'm sure they have chemistry with one another. And I agree that it does, like many of the quote-unquote pillars in the company, it's them building up, the Florida Championship Wrestling class of 2004 kind of thing.
Exactly. And I just think it would be brilliant.
Yes. All right. Next up, I ended up not seeing a huge amount of the next portion because I was actually trying to set up the new computer. But I know that we ended up hearing from Bullet Club Gold leader Jay White and member Juice Robinson. I can't believe he is still active in my wrestling view.
I know, right? I remember when we saw him. Didn't we see him live
And
back when he was like the hippie
NXT,
in
yeah.
NXT? Like, holy cow! I'm so
What a
glad,
transformation for Juice.
dude. I know, which is funny because he really like he kind of has the same look. He just dresses differently and has a little bit of a like badder attitude.
But yeah, so coming out and sort of calling out the tag division, but particularly the AEW World Tag Champions, FTR.
Yes.
They responded, and they responded by coming out and confronting them.
Yep.
They ended up like making a daring escape through the crowd to get away from FTR.
Yes, as those sneaky heels do.
Those sneaky finger gun pointing, okay, real quick.
Yes.
So I have always been told that like finger guns is like the most bisexual thing one can do, right?
Uh-huh.
So like
all of Bullet Club is.
I mean, that explains Prince Devitt.
Yeah, and Kenny Omega, and literally all of them.
No, it does not explain AJ Styles.
Okay, AJ Styles is like the one exception. Maybe, it's just when you're in Bullet Club, you're open to it. And he left, so
it's a lot of leather. It's a lot of leather.
It's a lot of leather. Yeah, see, I'm just saying.
It is.
Juice was great in New Japan. You're absolutely right, Roger.
Oh hell yeah, we saw him pre-COVID when he.
Yes.
We saw him pre-COVID when he was wrestling for New Japan. He defended, or I think he ended up. Did he lose the North American title at that pay-per-view?
Or was that the one where he won it?
No, you're right. That's the one where he won it.
Yeah,
yes.
we watched him win it. Sheldon just donated $4.99 and said thoughts on Claudio making his New Japan debut this Sunday at Dominion with Mox and Shota against Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii for the Never Six-Man Tag titles. I think
they were wrestling. I didn't realize it was next weekend.
I didn't realize it was next weekend either, and I would love that. I think that would be a brilliant
It's going to be a brilliant match. There's a lot of talent in there. What I'm wondering is...
Has Claudio never been in New Japan? I hadn't realized, actually.
I don't think so.
Oh, dang. I hadn't actually realized that he had never been in New Japan. I thought I would have... I mean, I guess he was just in WWE for so long, and AEW is the first thing he's done since then, right? So, yeah, I guess he would...
Well, he was in Ring of Honor at one point.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He was.
Like, he was, like, in it... Because I think he ended up wrestling Steen in them.
Oh, right. Yes, he did.
But, I imagine that we're not... I don't think we're going to see Claudio and friends take the titles. But I do expect something to set up for Forbidden Door.
And
however,
them being in that match would definitely do that. They could start some rivalries.
Although I really think that... I'm thinking Okada's going to be facing MJF at Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm. I also think he's going to be facing MJF at Forbidden Door. And then I think
we'll get to the rest of that.
Okay.
But yeah, so FTR versus the Bullet Club is being set up as our next main title feud. It should be a lot of fun. I am waiting to find out how Jeff Jarrett will get involved.
Oh yeah, because
he is going to. I think Jeff Jarrett's going to join Bullet Club.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes,
no.
I can. Oh my god, no. He comes out with like a black guitar. Like painted on the back.
with the emblem on it and stuff. Oh no, they're all gonna.
I can see it. It's guitars. Beautiful.
I know.
Can't you see it? He's wearing the black. Surely someone's had a Bullet Club like cowboy hat gimmick. Hangman had to, right?
Hangman had to. Was Hangman ever technically officially part of Bullet Club though? He's part of the Elite, but was he part of Bullet Club?
Yeah, the Elite was part of Bullet Club. They were the Bullet Club Elite.
Was that what they were called when he was with them? I felt like okay, fair enough. Wait, again? Wait. Sheldon said Jeff Jarrett joining Bullet Club again. Has he joined
was he in it before? I can believe it. I believe he could. And yes, Hangman joined in 2016.
He was? Oh no, what? When?
Yes.
Why?
Oh my god, there are photos.
Why is this man in everything?
Looking at here.
No. Ridiculous. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous.
That is amazing.
Okay, well then he'll rejoin. He'll join his brethren.
It's during the AJ Styles years, which is not surprising.
Oh, okay, that does make a little bit more sense. Oh my god, I see it. Oh my
he's in better shape now.
He is in so much better shape now.
Yeah, good for him.
Well, he had to compete with all the young people.
Oh man, I missed that. That's great.
That is great.
Following that, we had the big announcement about CM Punk returning. If you missed the beginning of the stream, we already talked about that. But the main thing is we think it's a smart decision to get it out there because we already know Punk is coming back.
Yeah,
they announced Chicago for Collision. We all knew that. So by making it official, that ensures that like entertainment news will pick it up more likely.
Exactly. Okay, so he joined Bullet Club in 2014, says Sheldon, with another donation, and started Global Force Wrestling with Scott D'Amore. Oh, okay, cool. So that's when he started Global Force Wrestling.
Oh, okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah,
thank you for the donation.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we got sort of the peanut butter and jelly and banana sandwich of the night.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, that weirdly sounds delicious to me.
And this match was weirdly delicious.
It really was. It was a very good match. So we have Swerve Strickland versus Big Bill versus Trent Beretta. And it was honestly great. Like
you're playing WWE like my GM mode.
And you just have to throw some people together, and they're all very popular, and so they end up having like this spectacular match in the middle of the card and completely throwing off the curve of your graph at the end.
It kind of is, because I mean, like, Swerve, I would argue, is a high flyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Big Bill is big.
Is a giant.
So big.
Yep.
And then I would say Trent Beretta is a specialist. You know, he can kind of wrestle everyone. So I think this triple threat works.
It totally did work. And honestly, like, I did not expect to like Swerve as much as I do, but he is a fantastic heel.
It has taken him time to I mean, it has not helped that he has been in the same feud with Keith Lee for the last 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I get that they're supposed to be a long time. Like, that's their thing. They are going to be long-term rivals. I understand that. It's just, it feels like there has to be a resolution at some point.
Or they need to just let it freaking go because it's been going for too long.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. For me, these really, really, really long format feuds that I feel like are trying to end up, I don't know, reigniting the feeling of what Macho and Hulk Hogan types of feuds from back in the day.
The 80s and 90s, those 2 to 3 year builds.
Yeah, like I know it's trying to maybe like hold on to that element, and there's nothing necessarily against that, but I feel like some of these ones end up going for too long and then just becoming stale.
From my perspective, it's just I would like to see a situation where one of them keeps trying to accomplish things and the other one stops them. And I don't feel like we see that in any meaningful way. Like, we never see, like, I just, and maybe I'm wrong about this and correct me, but like, to take Keith Lee should have like stated goals about like grabbing the TNT title or the TBS title. We build that story around that. We don't see Swerve at all, and then Swerve screws him at the last moment.
Yeah, I think that would be a much more interesting story to tell, because right now, like, they've had Swerve interfering with Keith Lee on occasion.
It's just whenever he has a random match. It's never like Keith Lee is actually trying to do anything. It's just he's trying to do his job.
Yeah.
And Swerve harasses him, opposed to like, this is Keith Lee's big emotional moment.
Yeah.
So I have some like pathos, but I don't know.
That's I kind of agree with you. I think it is partially because it is a workplace harassment story more than I am fucking you over for the championship kind of story, where it becomes a little bit more personal to Keith Lee. And more so, it's just like this man tormenting this other man at his job. And that's kind of weird. I totally agree with you.
But overall, actually, a very good match.
Was great.
And here's the thing. I have enjoyed Big Bill, Big Cass's work actually for a long time. Like I understand he's had some like personal demon issues, but like I really liked him back in NXT.
Oh, I thought he was fantastic back in NXT, and it's not just because of Enzo Amore being able to like hype him up and everything. Like he was a good like wrestler, and I thought he worked really hard and was great in the ring. But yes, he had some personal demons, and seeing him now though, I feel like he's right back on top of things again.
Yeah, because I mean, and the thing is, he has good energy. It's something that you see a lot in Giants, and is something of this lethargic energy that I think is trying to create the idea of weight and torque.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really work. And I'm not going to say anyone's name, almost, but at the same time, I actually really love almost that big weeb.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
Right, but like I don't like the big like I am slow but hitting you with 2 tons of force. Like it just doesn't click with me.
Right.
But whereas Big Bill reminds me of 1998 Kane.
Right. When he like a big guy moving super fast and just flying around the ring, but still being all about force.
Yeah, it's like, well,
power.
He doesn't have to be like that agile when he can put like a 4-foot, 120-pound limb in the way.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know, but he gets there quickly, and I enjoy that.
Yes.
He also bumps well.
He does. Yeah, I think I agree with that. He completely takes a bump very well. Very, very well.
All right. After this, we ended up with a backstage segment with the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass talking to Renee Paquette, where they basically talked about they are still vying or aiming for those World Trios titles held by the House of Black.
They aren't satisfied with just losing to him. They want to take those titles.
They do, but most importantly, they want to do it because they want to see Daddy Ass holding gold one more time.
Yes.
And I actually really dig that because as an old school, like I was 12 in 1999. So like Road Dogg and the New Age Outlaws were like my favorite tag team as a kid.
Aw.
As a kid.
I understand.
Just to emphasize that. But so
you mean they're not your favorite tag team currently?
Well, they're not wrestling together currently, so no.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So I don't think they're going to do it, but I think it's a fun, emotional story that will probably result in somebody turning heel on somebody.
Probably. I expect this might end up leading to their breakup. I do kind of hope that they win it, like even if it's just transitional, because I kind of agree. I would love to see if they don't do it with the Acclaimed. I do want eventually Billy Gunn to end up back with the Ass Boys and then win it, because I think that would also be very cool for him to win it like with his kids, because I do think it would be neat to see him have the belt one more time.
We'll see. I'm not sure. Like, okay, we were talking about this. Like, Anthony Bowens is a future megastar.
Oh, 100%.
And so I say that because I was about to ask the question, like, well, who do you want to see pin Brody King in the House of Black to win this?
It would be Anthony Bowens.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I don't think you're going to see Malachi taking the pin.
No, I don't think Malachi is going to take the pin, and I don't actually think Murphy should take the pin either. So I do think Brody would be the one. I think it would be great if Anthony Bowens did it, was the one that made the pin, because Max Caster is fantastic. I think he has got superb mic skills, and he's great in the ring too. Like, they're no downplaying either of the Acclaimed, but I don't know. Anthony Bowens is always the punctuation to everything that they do. And I just feel like that is intentional, and that they're eventually planning for him to possibly either go heel and turn on them because he's like feeling held back or something. Like, I could see that kind of storyline being done. I could see him and Daddy Ass both splitting possibly for Max. or vice versa, like maybe Max and Daddy Ass are together and Anthony Bowens is the one that splits off separately. But like I can see something like that happening down the line. And I feel like he's gonna end up being he's gonna end up getting this huge push and being able to think he'll be a little bit more flexible with where he ends up going character wise than Max. As much as I love both of them a lot.
Max is an interesting case because everything I've ever seen Max doing on social media, if it's not in character,
yes,
he actually comes off as a bit shy.
I agree. Like I also have gotten a little bit of like shy vibes from him.
And for a guy whose entire like character persona is based on swagger, I worry long term about that. Now, hopefully, he can sort of adapt it better, but it's just whenever, like, see the interview that they had with RJ City on AEW, an official AEW podcast. And if you have never watched AEW,
oh my god, please go do. RJ
very
City
funny.
Does such a good job. It's so good. It's one of my favorite programs that they do.
Oh my god, the episode he did with William Regal was art.
So good. So good. I mean,
but if you see that interview that he did with the Acclaimed, I feel like Max Caster without prepared lines is easy to fluster.
Yes. That is the impression I've gotten as well.
Now, this being said by somebody who would be much easier to fluster than him, so I'm not trying to like claim anything like that, but it's just whereas Bowens is doing like modeling for clothing lines right now. He, as you said, he is the one who gets the hot tag. He's the one who gets the everybody loves the Acclaimed at the end. Yes. So I think he's got the rocket at the end of the day. And let's face it, Max will make the much better heel in that inevitable breakup.
Oh yeah.
If and when it happens.
Yeah, because he'll just be able to continue to like use his microphone skills and destroy people verbally while still also being great in the ring.
Yes. All right. So we have next up the loudest heat I have heard in AEW since MJF in like California? I don't know, man.
I know that
DoN Callis came out with Konosuke Takeshita, and the heat, I could feel it from like across the room, man.
I know. It was the boos were so loud. They were so loud. It was I personally think a great promo.
So the setup for all this is over the weekend at the pay-per-view. Anarchy in the Arena took place.
Yep.
And Don Callis assaulted, or he's already betrayed the Elite.
Yes.
But he further, turned the knife in their backs by bringing in Konosuke and having him assault Omega, giving the Blackpool Combat Club the win over the weekend. Is Don Callis and Konosuke working with Blackpool Combat Club? Brian wasn't going to answer that question for us.
Who knows?
But probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're like my actual suspicion.
They'd be too powerful if they were openly together right now.
I agree, which is why I don't think that they are. Like, I don't think Don Callis and Konosuke are part of Blackpool Combat Club. I think they were using this as an opportunity to both go after the same like target because they both are against the same people right now, but I think that's as far as the relationship goes.
So during this promo, he explained that I have such a harder time saying Takeshita than Konosuke, sorry. He said that Konosuke was greater than Ricky Dozan, than Antonio Inoki, and even Okada.
Which got people to like get even louder with their boos.
Yes. Yeah, we called out that. He talked about how Kenny had, I really think Don Callis actually needs to talk to Matt Hardy, because what happened is when he took that blow to the head, I think Don Callis broke.
Oh my
Like
God. Are
Matt
we dealing with
Hardy
a broken?
broken.
Yeah, no, I understand.
He is a broken Don Callis, and we even heard it from him because every morning he has to wake up, look in the mirror, and see that gnarly scar on his head.
Holy shit. He really
You
does.
know,
He should talk to Matt Hardy. He needs to go to the
yeah,
lake.
go to the Lake of Resurrection, he'd
Yeah.
be right better. But so he lost his adopted son, his nephew, his godson, Kenny Omega, but he has a new son in Takeshita. And no one is greater than him, right?
Right. No one.
There's no star in America or even Canada greater than him.
Nope.
Because yeah, a little later tonight, we see Renee. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here,
Yes.
but just to talk about. But a little later tonight, we do see Renee backstage interviewing the Bucks and Hangman. And this results in the Dark Order showing up for a brief moment. We'll talk about them in a moment.
Mhm.
But the key sort of takeaway from this segment is they asked where Kenny is, and Kenny is out of the country, out of the United States.
Ah,
And
interesting.
and somebody made a point of stating that, oh, he's back in Canada. He ran home to Canada. And they said, well, no, he's not in Canada either.
Because he's in Japan.
Because he's in Japan.
Reuniting as the Golden Lovers.
Yes, reuniting with his golden lover. So we are building towards a Blackpool Combat Club versus the Golden Elite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I have to break that shirt out.
Yes, you do. Oh my gosh. It's been a while. It's gonna be
I hope so.
I really hope so too. Like I do actually hope that's what they're teasing. That we're actually going to get him.
Who else?
I don't know. Like it has to be, right?
I mean, they're already talking about Okada, so it has to be somebody on Okada level.
Yeah, which means it has to be Ibushi.
Well, so the interesting thing that I've seen pointed out is the fact that Ibushi is in the doghouse with New Japan, right?
Right.
So what we might end up seeing is he still may not be involved until after Forbidden Door.
Because he has to let like his contract continue to like.
No, he's off contract. He's a free agent right now.
Free agent
but
okay.
Yeah, but New Japan probably doesn't want to do a show with him right now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So Okada isn't like allowed to wrestle with Ibushi on the card, for example.
I see. Okay.
I don't know that, but that could be the politics.
I could see that. I mean, New Japan has been in the past kind of strict about like those kinds of relationships. I mean,
so
we've also seen other companies actually be very strict about those kinds of relationships as well.
Because AAA and CMLL, their feud.
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, okay. You know what? Fair enough that it may not be immediately him, but I do think that's what they're leading ultimately to. Like it might not happen as soon as we want it to, but I think that's the end goal.
Mm-hmm. Leading into the next segment, shockingly, Orange Cassidy did not open a show.
It's because he was tagging with somebody.
It's true,
Orange
but still,
Cassidy
even
he tends to, if he doesn't open the show, the reason he tends to not open the show is because he's tagging with somebody else who doesn't usually open the show. This time he happened to be tagging with Darby Allin, and holy shit, this match was insane. Like, it was Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus the Gates of Agony on behalf of Swerve Strickland to harass Orange Cassidy because he wants the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, you finish, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, this match, like, they were throwing Darby and Orange around so much, but holy cow, can the Gates of Agony move? Like, they are powerhouses and can fly, and this match just kept up at an extreme pace, I felt like. The entire time, and I loved it.
You have to imagine Darby and Orange gotta be tired, man. They wrestled some hella matches 3 days ago.
I know, that's why I'm like, I felt so bad for them because they were getting tossed around. But the coffin drop that Darby got, because they ultimately won this match, despite getting, I felt like, brutalized at the beginning of it. But like ultimately, Darby Allin like did this beautiful coffin drop off the top rope, landed on I don't know which I apologize. I don't actually know the names of the Gates of Agony, but it's the guy with the larger beard. Landed on him. It was beautiful. Got the win. I think that was at least who he landed on. Now I'm not so sure, but landed on one of them. It was beautiful. Got the win. I love how much Darby is being the one to pin the most out of the 4 pillars outside of like MJF as the champ. Like they're really, I feel like, pushing Darby even more.
Well,
and then go ahead.
No, finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and then at the end of this, Sting returned.
That was Sting. Yes, because Strickland, for the second time tonight, came out.
Mhm.
In an entirely separate segment. Separate from his 3-way match earlier. To basically try and beat down and play the numbers game against Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin, to which resulted in he's the what, like 3 months gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he was gone before the last pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
He wasn't at our pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. We didn't get to. I don't think we saw him. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's been gone for like over 3 months.
Yeah, so he returned, which was refreshing. But and this goes back to a point I said at the early on in the show. A lot of resets going on tonight. It feels like we're really turning the chapter into the Mogul Embassy faction with Swerve was in 2 different segments involving a lot of title belts tonight.
Yes.
So I have a feeling they're either going to be very important on Dynamite or on Collision coming up. Similarly, we just talked about how we have the Bullet Club going up against FTR. That's an entirely new feud.
Yep.
Just before this, we got the new Konosuke as a heel. New chapter in that storyline. And then we even have sort of the biggest shift, all the way from main eventing the last pay-per-view, shooting for that title. We have Jungle Boy Jack Perry in the next segment, coming out and saving Hook from Jose the Assistant.
Yep.
Preston Vance, formerly number 10, and Dralistico, who I originally thought was Roosh because I couldn't see the mask from where I was.
I actually really like this segment, which is weird for me to say because most segments that have involved Jungle Boy over the last year, I've just not cared about. But he's a different, I feel like we're getting a different Jungle Boy now.
It's nice black. Because all those stories that we've had for the last year have all been about him becoming a man.
Yes.
It was about, his feud with Christian was about him becoming a man 3 times over. Him, fighting in the 4 Pillars match was about him proving he is now the manly main event man.
Yes.
And that's fine. But at a certain point, it's we get it. You're an adult. Have a bar mitzvah or whatever you want to have. A sweet 16 party. We don't care.
Yeah, do something. Make yourself feel like you're an adult. Go to a bar and get a drink.
Make some friends and do some other stuff. And that's what he's doing. He's allying himself with a cool friend in Hook.
Yep.
And, he's got some dudes to fight. And this very much feels like we are highlighting talent who are going to be on the new show.
Yes. Yes, I also like that Taz immediately called them Jungle Hook, even though I'm pretty sure Jack Perry is trying to drop the jungle portion of his name.
Or at least the boy.
At least the boy portion. Well, but Jungle Man doesn't that's what is that? That's not a thing.
Jungle Man.
Jungle Man. No.
We then had the first defense of the newly crowned TBS champion Chris Statlander against a returning to television. I don't know what she's done on Rampage recently,
yeah.
But Nyla Rose in a fine match.
I actually really liked this match. The wrestling was fine. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst or anything. It's great to see Statlander back. I love I actually got to see her very briefly when we had our pay-per-view here in SF. And I will admit, she was a little grumpy because I think she was 8 months out from when she had gotten injured, and she had a lot of people asking her when she was coming back, and I think she was getting tired of that because she hadn't quite known yet. So I'm very happy to see that she's back. I'm hoping that has just reinvigorated her, and the fact that they've given her a belt makes me think that I loved what happened at the end of this segment so much. Oh my
Please
god.
talk this through because I actually was out of the room.
Okay, so at the end of this segment, Chris Statlander retained her belt. She beat Nyla Rose. I love that we're seeing Nyla Rose back as well. I think this is the first time we've seen Nyla on television because, again, I don't know what she's done on Rampage or anything since Vicky's left. So I'm glad to see that she's back and she's doing things because I was a little sad that we just hadn't seen her since Vicky had gone away. So she beat Nyla Rose. But then they cut to backstage where Valkyrie was watching, looking pissed. And I love this because this is setting up a very appropriate feud while allowing Jade to actually have a break before re-challenging to take the belt back between Chris Statlander and Taya Valkyrie, because she basically screwed Taya, as I'm sure from Taya's perspective is seeing it, in getting the belt. Because Taya had already done all the work for Chris Statlander. She had already wrestled Jade for like 20 minutes or whatever, however long the match was. And because I think they actually went for quite a decent amount of time. So already had completely worn Jade out. Chris was just taking advantage of it. And I loved the furious look. I love the fact that this is setting up a legitimate... Yeah. This is setting up a legitimate feud that has absolutely zero to do with betrayal because they formerly were best friends. Because that's what every single AEW women's feud tends to be about, is somebody used to be friends with somebody else, and woe is me, we've had a falling out, and now you betrayed me, and now, we're in a feud. This has nothing to do with that. Thank you. Thank you. This is what I've been wanting. It's all I've wanted.
All right. By the way, if you need, you might need to refresh the info page you're looking at if you don't have the next section beneath this.
Let's see.
Because we will now talk about the main event. Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Chris Jericho and Saraya.
Yes. Another, I think, good match.
It was better than the unsanctioned match that they had on Sunday.
Yes.
I happen to very much enjoy the violence between Britt Baker and Chris Jericho particularly. This is all leading, I'm pretty sure, to Jericho's going to hit a Judas effect on Britt at some point, and that's going to result in, like, I don't know, a first blood match or something. I feel like that's where this has to go.
I agree. I think it's going to end in something like that. Some very violent match between ultimately Adam Cole and Jericho, because Jericho ends up hitting, you're right, the Judas effect on Baker. I definitely think that is where this is leading to. And I'm okay with that. So before we get into this match fully, I just want to say I understand why AEW has done it this way. They had Britt and Adam Cole both come out to the same music, being Adam Cole's. And they had Chris Jericho and Saraya both come out to their individual music because they're heels. You're supposed to get into your head that, oh, well, they're not on the same page because they're not sharing music. So they're going to be in conflict. Will they be able to work together? Where the couple should, in theory, who are faces, are probably going to work together and, be able to win this out. Which... ultimately, yes, is what happens. But I really, really wish Britt could have come down with her own music. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I don't think that them having separate music means that they're not going to be able to be compatible as a tag team. And I feel like it would just... you talked about it when we were watching the episode of how the entrance that Jericho and Saraya had this like really good energy to it because they were very different approaches. And it gave it got the crowd lit, right? And I feel like while Adam Cole's music definitely pumped people up, DMD's music also pumps people up. They freaking love Britt Baker and her music. So let her have her grand moment too, and have them she comes out first, just like Saraya did, and then that leads or ends with Adam Cole's. But let them both have it, dang it.
Indeed. But this match ended up ending focusing primarily on the women when the mean green fighting machine known as... what is their damn faction name? The Outcasts?
The Outcasts.
Yes, thank you.
Because
the Outcasts... because they're all former
Or
WWE.
yes.
I guess. So they came out to attack Britt Baker. However, they ended up being saved by Hikaru Shida.
Awesome to see her. Always love when she gets to run in and kick some butt with a kendo stick.
Yes. But honestly, I do feel like this might have been the weakest segment of the night.
I don't disagree. Like, I liked the match. It was fine, but I only think it was fine. Like, there was a couple of fumbles, I feel like, or at least just weak moments.
Oh, there was a moment where one of the wrestlers was like, was setting up for like a back body drop or something, and the partner just did not know what to do. So one of them was just standing in the middle of the ring, bent over, waiting. It was an awkward moment.
Yeah, it was a little awkward, but ultimately, like I said, it was a fine match. It was when I said earlier that the curve of this show, if you were playing this in like GM mode on the 2K game, this would be a weird curve, and you'd get like probably an okay booking, because I felt like the main event was not as strong as some of the other matches earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what was the last thing?
Oh, I don't think the main event tonight was as strong as some of the other matches earlier in the show. I said earlier in the day, but I meant earlier in the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's why I was confused. I was like,
yeah, I said earlier in the day, but I meant earlier in the show.
Yes, like personally, I think maybe we should have ended the night on DoN, Callis, and Takeshita, just based on the heat in the room.
Honestly, I completely agree. I think like that going out off the air to just people pelting booze towards these two men would have been a very intense moment. Like, it would have been great. And I just, Sheldon, I disagree with you. The Outcasts do not suck. I actually wanted to speak to that actually a little bit. They had a great promo of of Toni Storm with her championship. She was talking to Renee, I believe it was. And she was flanked by Saraya and Ruby. And Toni did a great job. I love the attitude she's going with right now of, I am the best. This is like my true run. I'm going, like, no one can compete with me. There's not even anyone good enough in this locker room to carry my bags for me like I had to used to do, because I have gone through everything. I am an indie darling. Love me, damn it. Now I have my belt properly back. I actually really love that attitude. The only weak part of it was Saraya basically repeated what Ruby had said, and then Toni kind of had to, like almost verbatim, and Toni like handled it perfectly.
You're so humble. Yeah, you're so humble.
Yeah, that was a little bit awkward. I don't know what was happening there, but other than that, I thought Toni handled it great. I'm looking forward to their with Toni's inevitable rematch with Hayter once Hayter is healthy again. Because that's going to be a freaking great match.
Agreed. Overall, I thought the momentum for the company is in a much better place than it was, say, a month ago. Collision feels like it could have some good energy. It feels like we're setting up new relationships for new stories, and even, featuring people like Nyla, Preston, Dark Order was on TV. So, like, I feel like we're going to be seeing more of the AEW original mid-carders, who Angela and I have talked a lot about how we actually really liked a lot of those folk.
And we've been sad that we haven't seen as much of them as we've seen just more and more WWE.
I want more of the wingmen, damn it.
I want more of the wingmen too.
All right. But overall, pretty good show this week. On the whole, I would give this one like a solid B. If the main event had been a bit better, or possibly in a different order, I think I'd feel a little stronger about it, but I'd give it a B.
I think I am honestly right there with you. I really liked the show overall. I definitely still think it was above average, because there was a lot of just very good wrestling matches on it, and they did move, I think, just the right amount of stories forward and changed enough people's directions to go, we're going somewhere new, people. We're dropping some of these storylines. Like the fact that Jungle Boy has nothing to do with Christian Cage right now is so good to me. It's just so good to me. And I, you know what? Because of that alone, I'm actually going to give it, you said you gave it a B.
Yes.
I'm going to give it a low B+. just because of that. Because it's
There you
finally
go.
moved him forward into a direction that I just can actually agree with, maybe.
Awesome. And the last thing I want to talk about before we sign off for
Yes.
the night is that starting next week, we are going to be trying to do something a little bit different. It's still going to be wrestling related.
Yes.
But we're going to be a bit earlier in the day, probably at for context, we started this at 7:30 p.m. our time.
Yep.
And we're thinking 3 p.m.
Yeah, I'm thinking either
Ish.
3 p.m., maybe 2 p.m. Like, it's either going to be at the 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. slot, probably.
Yeah, so basically we're going to do earlier in the day, we are going to do a wrestling podcast / WWE 2K GM mode stream.
I'm excited for this.
Because we will completely steal every idea from
Wrestle
Luke.
Talk. Yes.
Yes.
Specifically Luke and Pete. We're just gonna snag their idea completely. I just want to throw out that we're also ripping off because we have watched them do this too.
Up, up, down, down.
Up, down, down. Yeah, we're
Yep.
I am Prince Pretty.
What? Oh, well, okay. I'm okay being Xavier.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, what? You don't want to be Xavier Woods?
Yeah, man. I'll take his triceps.
Okay, cool. So
His
you're gonna be
delts.
Xavier Woods. I will be Prince Pretty. I think this works perfectly. And yeah, that is our goal for this going forward, just to try something a little bit different. And plus, we also just really want to play my GM mode, and we figured you guys might enjoy watching us to goof around in that.
Yes, with time limits. There will be time limits.
Yes, there will be time limits. There absolutely will be time limits. Don't worry. I will not take 12 hours to make one decision.
Indeed. All right. Well, I think we actually did that in about an hour, Angela.
Hey, oh my God, look at us. We did it. We're
all right.
We're almost professionals.
Well, folks, we are actually going to an indie luchador show tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll be sure to let you know how that turns out.
Make sure you're following me on Instagram, because I'll probably be posting stories and stuff about it. That will be the easiest way for you to see the most about it immediately, because I'm very excited. It's going to be fun. All right.
Indeed.
Yes, and we will go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you all for joining us. To everybody that was hanging out in chat and talking to us during all this, you guys are amazing. I still disagree with you, Sheldon. I don't think that they suck. I don't think they're being that repetitive. Like I said, I feel like they're going in a different direction. So we'll agree to disagree. But thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Chaos Cultist, thank you for honestly covering for me as I flub my way through things sometimes, and being here with me and chatting with me. Let's go ahead and say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, folks.
See ya.